managing the game, seeing it out, earning all 3 points. That puts the gap at the top to just 2 points on Arsenal. And look at the scenes at the end. Have you seen this from Pep? I think maybe at Anfield, you know, when they scored those goals late on. But this was Pep really enjoying the moment.
Yeah, you don't often see that, particularly at home. I mean, more often than not, they've beaten Newcastle at home, 17 on the spin at the Etihad. But I think such was the size of the game, such was what happened in midweek to Arsenal, and then what may happen tomorrow with Arsenal. That was a huge statement from Manchester City. Now, you could tell the relief from everyone inside the stadium, both players, management and the fans. It was a huge relief because they were under a lot of pressure from Newcastle, but they just had to get those 3 points, and they have.
And now we have a 2-point gap at the top, the smallest it's been since the 29th of December. It's game on.
It is, and it's going to be for the neutral. It's brilliant, isn't it? You know, not one team is 9 points clear like Arsenal, where it's now they dragged each other back. They have to play each other at the Etihad in April, but before then, it'll toss and turn. Look at the goal differences, nigh on the same. So actually, it's just the sake of you have to go out, you have to do your job, and the pressure should flip-flop now between each team. Who can handle it? Who's got the biggest squads? Because Manchester City, a lot of their players have been there and done it virtually every single year for the last 5 or 6 years. So they can handle the pressure. Can Arsenal? That's the only question everybody around the country is saying, isn't it? Arsenal couldn't handle it last year, the year before. Can they handle it this year? And we'll find out very soon.
Well, that's going to be the big difference between the two, isn't it? Because, you know, they've got 11 games left to play, 12 for Arsenal with the North London derby, and then they play each other. Many people saying Arsenal, it's theirs to lose because they did have that gap. Is that still the case, or do you fancy City more now?
I would still probably just say Arsenal, but there's not going to be a lot between them. I think what we can guarantee is that each and every Saturday we say, right, we've done our job the game before, now it's over to you. But, and I also say that not every team, or not both teams are going to win all of their games. So that it is going to be backwards and forwards, right? The pressure's on you, and it will flip-flop. I've been in that position myself, and I know the pressure that Arsenal are under because of the circumstances and how they finished second on too many occasions for their liking. Man City have been there. They know what it's about. They've got so many players, and the management have been there, and they understand what it takes to get over the line. But I still feel Arsenal might just have a slight advantage. Just.
Yeah, that last fixture on the graphic we just showed is the League Cup final between the two. For many people, on the 22nd of March, that's the kicker. That could help decide, even though it's not a league game, it could help decide the league. Is that your feeling?
No, I think the next 3 games are the ones, because if you look at paper, of course, Tottenham, Chelsea, I think Arsenal have Brighton. On paper, Manchester City's games are a lot easier, and Manchester City's games come before Arsenal. So if Arsenal slip up once, then City could go top of the league. And I think that's when it'll start to get interesting. As soon as City go first and Arsenal start playing catch-up with the game at the Etihad to come in April, that's when people will start thinking about whether it goes back and forth. I think the League Cup final is a bonus, really. Whoever wins that, fine. I don't think it'll have any bearing on the league, on somebody winning the league.
Al, you mentioned that you've been in the situation before, the one that the Arsenal players find themselves in. Just how tough is it to be in that dressing room? How tough is it to be in the dressing room where you are leading? Which one would you rather be in?
I would much prefer to be leading, yeah, but having said that, when you are leading and you drop points, the whole of the country's then saying, well, are they going to bottle it? Is the pressure being too much for them? Yeah, it's probably easier chasing than it is being chased, and that's what Arsenal have to deal with. They somehow, and even Man City, you look at the relief tonight, look at how they all reacted at the end of the game. Even Man City realised the enormity of that result this evening against Newcastle. But that's what it's going to boil down to, the mentality of both teams. What Man City will feel is a lot of their players, and particularly the staff, have been there before. They've done it and know what to expect. Whereas Arsenal are under more pressure than anyone has ever been because of the situation that they were. There were so many points clear. They've become second in so many occasions. They've spent an absolute fortune. He's now got the squad that he wants. He brought the players in that he wanted, Mikel Arteta. So, and with what they had 3 weeks ago, it could have been 9. It's now back down to 2. And then that tells you that, the pressure is right on them tomorrow.
Which dressing room are you going to, leaders or chasers?
At this moment,
yeah,
I'd be in the chasers because you've got them at home. You know where you're going to, what you have to do at your own grounds, and that atmosphere will be rocking. You know what you have to do. And as Al rightly said, you've got players who haven't won anything, like Mark Gay, when he spoke eloquently after the game. But you've also got 8 and 9 players who have won it 4 or 5 times, and you've got Pep, who's won it as many times as possible. So I'd rather be the chasers at the moment.
You mentioned Mark Gahey. We obviously caught up with him after the game on Premier League Live, and he said something that stands out to me and that I actually find hard to believe. He's not watching the Arsenal games. How difficult is that actually to do in this day and age, and to stay away from social media?
There's too much football on. You can't watch every game.
He might not be watching, but he won't be able to get away from it, particularly with social media, the way that is nowadays. But when I watched every single game. I watched the opponents, and I was praying for them to drop points. And then it's over to yourself to try and get the points. But what you can't take away is the pressure, and there's lots of it there.
I think Mark Gay was watching Newcastle against Karabakh because it was on at the same time. You know, he's studying his next opponent. That's how professional Mark Gay is.
Mark Gahey, whether he is watching or not, we will never know.
He was watching Newcastle Karabakh.
We will. Who has it tougher? Are they all tough?
Well, if you look at those particular games that we can see, when you look at Manchester City, Leeds, Nottingham Forest, the FA Cup, West Ham, and then Arsenal, you'd certainly, and you've got, of course, you'd certainly think it was Manchester. And there's a couple of FA Cup and League games in there, as EFL Cup game as well. You'd certainly think when you look at those games, Tottenham and Chelsea for Arsenal are more difficult than the 4th that Manchester City would have. But of course, there's 11 games left, and as Al said, they're going to drop points. Both of them will drop points because they're not as dominating as they once were in the past, Manchester City. And either at Arsenal, the competition's closer, so it won't just be when they meet at the Etihad in April. They'll drop more points than that, the pair of them.
Well, there is big pressure certainly on Arsenal tomorrow because City have done the job. They play their bitter rivals, and you know it could still be 2 points come the end of tomorrow. Yeah,
it's we're going to be saying there's so much in between now and the end of the season. Well, City have done their job, or Arsenal have done their job. It's now over to Manchester City. I've been in this position myself. I know it's more difficult for Arsenal because they have to win it, and because of they were there. So, pressure on them tomorrow.
Certainly is. This was a huge moment for Manchester City, and one that they took with both hands.
Yeah, it felt more than 3 points, didn't it? The way they celebrated, you knew how important it was for them. There's still 11 games left in the Premier League, but this felt like a massive moment for them. Watching Arsenal drop points to Wolves midweek and the way they dropped it, it was vitally important that they got 3 points today. Didn't matter about playing great, winning by lots more goals than they did. It was just about 3 points, shifting all the pressure onto the North London derby tomorrow and seeing how Arsenal respond. Of course, Tottenham have got a new manager, see how they play in the first game under his tutelage. But big, it felt like a big moment this afternoon.
Yeah, big chance for City, and they were relentless kind of in the opening stages and got the opening goal. Big day for Nico O'Reilly as well. Yeah,
it was a big day for him. Two really good goals, and he was the difference for Manchester City. But they win the ball there, the first one, they win the second one there, and then they win they come together in the knockdown. And then it's a really clever run from O'Reilly, but it's an even better finish. He'll be delighted with that. But Newcastle won't be with the defending, as we heard from Eddie Howe in those little moments. But the way he gets himself into the position and the way he finishes it off, he was the difference for Manchester City tonight. There's no doubt about it. It's a great strike. I think Pope could and should do better, but he did his job and getting the 3 points.
That's all you can do, as Nico O'Reilly did. He made a good run. And the only thing that you could be super critical about is Malik Thiaw didn't follow him quick enough, didn't get close when he wanted to take the shot on. And then I think because of Malik Thiaw's body position, Nick Pope followed his position off the defender, and he looked a little tiny bit flat-footed to get across. So fine margins have decided this game today, and they decided it in the way of Manchester City.
Yeah, especially in that first half. Yeah. And, you know, it was pretty breathtaking. I mean, when you consider how close the goals came, it was end-to-end action. Look at the goal that made it 1-1.
Yeah, it was a brilliant first half. It was really, really open, more open perhaps than I thought it was going to be. But Lewis Hall finds himself in that position. That's what he's there for, in case the ball just happens to fall to him there, and it did, and he gets his strike away. But a little bit of luck with a deflection off Aït-Nouri, and Donnarumma's got absolutely no chance. And they get themselves back into the game to Newcastle, and that would be the disappointing thing, is that they concede a silly goal so soon after that, which they go in at half-time 2-1 down.
Yeah, lots of bodies in the box, and then the deflection as well. Let's look at the goal that does make it 2-1, and that ultimately gives Manchester City all 3 points. Erling Haaland turning provider.
Yeah, I look at Newcastle, they're in a great position, everybody behind the ball, but Semenyo goes past Voltemada too easy. And the gap between, we've said it early on, the gap between Kieran Trippier and Malik Thiaw is too big. The danger is Nico Riley. Kieran Trippier is just flat-footed. You see, he takes little steps to try and close him down. And Nico Riley has just got his eye on the ball and he is attacking it. And it was a lovely goal. But again, if you're Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall, you know where the failings were. That it's easy to analyse that goal. He should have pushed in a yard, and that would have been it. He would have blocked it. He would have stopped the run. And those little moments, you just wonder whether their travel arrangements midweek, the fact that they've had to travel back, it's just a question of slipping off, shutting down for 1 second. And I think that's what's cost them today. But I thought Newcastle were excellent. They deserve a huge amount of credit the way they performed today. They just couldn't or didn't do enough.
Yeah, and as Eddie Howe said, lacked that little bit of cutting edge. Manchester City